And here, theist. That's what we're calling him today. He's been called reasonable theist. He's been called the web expert. He's been called other names that we can't. Yeah, we can say them, but it's not polite. And so I brought him in to do this because whatever, no real reason, just cause. Say hi. Hi. All right, there he is. So we're gonna play this, and then we're gonna pause and respond to it whenever you feel like it. So yeah, here we go.
3 reasons to trust God exists. Number 1, scientific evidence. There are 3 pieces of scientific evidence, and the first is cause and effect. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. Science.
Here we go.
First of all, we haven't seen everything. And even if everything that begins to exist has a cause, even if that were true, then you have to carve out an exception for God, because apparently God is the one thing that exists that never began to exist. So that's special pleading. So that's a logical fallacy.
Yeah, I mean, you could also say that unfounded. Well, you could say everything that we've observed would be more honest to say it that way. But you could also say, well, nothing that we've ever observed has no cause. Therefore, there is nothing that has no cause. So you could say the same thing and then say, well, then there's nothing that has no cause. Everything has to have a cause in order to exist. You could say that and then go, well, if you're going to posit God without a cause, then there you go. You got a problem there. So it's just broken no matter what, because there's many responses to it. And we know there's a possibility of the counterexample in quantum physics. Particles come into existence, whatever. I don't know if that counts. So yeah. All right.
Confirms the universe has a beginning. Since the universe began to exist, the universe has a cause. And this cause must be timeless, immaterial, super powerful, and supernatural, which are all attributes of God. Is it the end-all, be-all, rock-solid proof of God's existence? Perhaps not, but it's an egg in the basket.
Oh yeah. In case you can't really tell, he's got a basket and he keeps putting eggs in the basket. And believe it or not, he puts all his eggs in one basket.
Of course he does. He's an apologist.
I mean, there's a saying: don't put all your eggs in one basket. If that falls over, you'll have a basket case. No joking. Yeah. So, anything to say on this? No. Okay. We got a door. We got a door. We have a door package. And spaceless and powerful and all that.
Isn't that assuming the consequent? Or
it's all sorts of things. I mean, it's just bald assertion. All these things that the thing has to be in order to quote begin end quote the universe, which is not even something that science really even says. Anyways, no, this is a compositional fallacy. The parts and the whole. Even if it's true of the parts that everything has a cause, that might be true of everything in the universe, but that doesn't mean that the entirety of the universe is the same way as its components.
But the whole thing, timeless, spaceless, and causeless, or whatever it was he put it, can you demonstrate empirical evidence, repeatable tests, or even a valid and sound logical argument that any one of those things is an actual thing?
No. What they do instead, they say, well, it can't be X, it can't be Y, it can't be this, it can't be that, so it must be this other thing, which is
God of the gaps.
Well, it's God of the gaps. It's also appeal to ignorance. Like, well, my door opened on it apparently on its own, and it can't be that the hinges were off kilter, that the locking mechanism failed. It can't be those things, so it has to be this other thing. Now, it could be. I could guess correctly, but it's not a logically valid way to get there.
The second piece of scientific evidence is the fine-tuning argument. Let me paint a picture in your mind. Picture an old radio dial with 189 trillion dials, 189 trillion notches. We discussed this a bit during Christmas. 189 trillion represents the mathematical probability for life to exist. So picture as best you can.
So what? Who cares? Life is improbable. Okay, life exists. Yeah, and your point?
Yeah, I mean, well, how do you get to that probability? Of course, is really a question. But I mean, I think the Weeee anthropic principle answer this. Of course, we would find ourselves in a life that or in a universe that permits life, but it's assuming that the universe is quote unquote designed for life. Or they go, well, if this was different, then our type of life wouldn't be, and that might be true. I don't know, because some of these things you can switch them quite a bit before you wouldn't get our kind of life anymore. But that doesn't mean no life, and it doesn't mean no. Well, if gravity was really heavy than it is now, then nothing could form because it all collapsed in on itself. Okay, well then you wouldn't have a universe, so you wouldn't be here to talk about it, right? So it's like, well, maybe those kind of universes don't form because they collapse in on themselves, right? So it's just this argument from improbability. It's like, well, you survived all these things throughout your day that kill, however many, 1 out of 10 Americans, slip in their shower. Well, that didn't happen to you. And then, then you survived going into your kitchen, and 1 out of 10 Americans, whatever the number is, and you could add all that together, you get this insanely improbable number of you surviving till this very moment, and be like, well, man, that's got to, what wouldn't be miraculous using this equation? Everything would be. And then if everything's miraculous, then it's not special at all, because it's only miraculous as a one-time event. But if you can do this with everything, which you can, then it's like, so what? Improbable things happen. But that's assuming that he's right on this, and I'm not going to do that.
And an old radio dial with 189 trillion dials. Let's say that dial that is in your mind represents gravitational force. If we were just one line off, life on Earth doesn't exist. We'd either implode or explode. If we were just one line off out of 189 trillion, that's just gravitational force.
Yeah. And well, yeah, prove it. But okay. So this Earth, as we understand, yeah, maybe, sure. But what about Jupiter? Well, Jupiter is gas, but if gravity was heavier, maybe it would condense into a solid. If gravity acted in that way, then things would still form. They'd just be denser. We don't have a model to show us what that would look like, and I'm not aware of. Maybe there is out somewhere, and somebody knows. Please let me know of some sort of computer simulation or whatever that we could run that shows, well, what happens if you increase the gravity on any planetary body? Like, does it just collapse in on itself? Well, you probably form a dwarf star or a star of some sort. Okay, well then, can you get any planetary bodies or just have stars? I don't know. But again, if life couldn't form, or our version of life couldn't form, that doesn't mean no life could form. But if no life could form, okay, then you're not there to talk about it. So you're not there to observe it. That would be much more interesting if the universe was non-life permitting and we were here. Then that would, call out for some sort of miraculous cause. Although you wouldn't want to do that then. But I mean, it'd be much more interesting at any rate.
Now, add to that every other property that is in existence for existence to exist. So you have a dial labeled oxygen, one labeled hydrogen, another labeled nitrogen. You have mass, protons, atoms, light, dark matter, electromagnetic radiation, energy. just to name a few. Oh, by the way, the more dials you have, the more lines on the dial. And if any of those dials are off by just one line, there is no life on Earth. 189 trillion plus lines, and you have to get the exact one for each property, meaning every property's dials are fine-tuned by an intelligent designer.
Blah, 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 blah. Meaningless statistics. That's another appeal to ignorance, appeal to personal incredulity. How many logical fallacies do we want to do in 2 or 3 minutes here?
Yeah, and like all the dials, like the more dials, the more lines on the dials. What? Why? Why does that? How does that? Where did you come up with that idea? Like, why is what? And it has to be this. Why? Well, okay, life on Earth, sure, yeah. We don't know about any other planets. So there's no other planets in the entire universe. So it couldn't be anywhere. So we wouldn't be here. Okay, we could be somewhere else. I mean, we don't have to be here. And I'm sure there's life out there somewhere in the universe that's chilling out there and being like, they could be making the same argument that he's making. And what's really, really bad about this is it doesn't prove a generic creator, let alone his particular version. So, it's just the same old, but that's this entire video. So
the uncreated creator, God Almighty. If we were off by just one line, life doesn't exist.
Oh no.
And yet here we are. The fine-tuning of the universe. If that doesn't do it for you, I don't know what would, but hey, it's another egg in the basket. The third piece of scientific evidence is DNA. Now, DNA carries hereditary information from our parents. It carries genetic code. It determines everything about our makeup. If our total DNA joined together, it would reach the sun in back 400 times. DNA is referred to as the book of life in science, and it's written like code. Think of
No, and no. No, it is not written like a code. DNA is molecular structure. It's amino acids. That's all it is chemicals that happen to be grouped together in a certain way, and we interpret it as a code when doing science for shorthand.
Yeah,
as an example, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the language there, I mean, you could get picky with it, whatever. It's information. Okay, fine. So we're used to information coming from people. So we go, oh, well, I see information, so it's got to be from a person, because that's where you're used to seeing information from. But the fact that you could, if it is a fact, string it together and get it to the sun and back,
400 times.
Yeah, however many, well, whatever, you could stretch I used to hear things like you stretch your intestines to the moon and back and things like that. I don't really know if any of that is really true. Like you could connect all your blood vessels together in a straight line, you'd get to the moon. I don't know if that's true or not. But if it is true, that's not evidence of good design. That's evidence of bad design at best, because you if you're a coder, if you're a computer programmer, you want the shortest possible code, because the computer spends longer on longer. This, you program stuff. So if you have a big old long code that is like check for this, then check for this, then check for that, then check for the other thing. Well, by the time it gets to the fourth thing, it has to get to the first three, right? So now there is a way to have it do all four at the same time now, but back in the day there was, but the more you have, the more lines of code, the longer it's going to take to go. So you want...
And really bad, really messy code is called spaghetti programming. Yeah. Imagine a pile of spaghetti. That's your program? No. What you want is nice, short, simple, and efficient. DNA is not any of those.
Yeah, I mean, and you have things that are just pointless. Go to one. The next thing is one. Like, why did you even bother with that, with the go to statement? You didn't even need that. Like, 0, go to 1. 1, go to 2. You're just like, Why would you do that? I don't know. I mean, you're just spending processing power for the sake of processing power, right? Go to 3, every single line. Go to 4, go to 5, go to 6, and 7. Okay, line 10, clear screen. It's like your programming instructor like, why did you do this? They're like, because like I don't want, you wanted the file to be a certain size, maybe.
The puddle analogy.
Yeah, the puddle.
I love Nerdy's comment here. If you spread your nervous system out straight, you'd be completely dead. Yeah.
yeah, that too. Yeah. So if you run your DNA to the sun and back, I think that not only are you dead, but I think most of it would burn up even before it got to the sun. So you couldn't get there, and then you couldn't get back. Also, you're dead, so you can't do it. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's just the code thing. Yeah, kind of ish. It's kind of like whatever, but no, it's whatever.
What else is
yeah, okay.
Of a computer code, and it's so complex that nobody can figure it out.
No, they they decoded the human genome like a few years back.
That's not the only genome that we've decoded completely.
Yeah,
and we've decoded several different species,
and it's gotten cheaper and faster to do it now. Like it used to spend years scientists doing it. Now it's like within moments because they have so much on file. And of course now with AI, they're using AI to like predict the next thing, and it's like getting higher and higher accuracy. So yes, ChatGPT at some point in the future will, well, maybe not that one, but something like it will be like, your DNA code is blah, and like, it's just from you uploading a photo or something crazy, and be like, I know your DNA, your fingerprint or something. I don't know, but maybe it would still need blood. But it's getting to that point. But yeah, no, we figured it out. But even if we had, let's just pretend we didn't figure it out. What does that mean? Oh no, we don't know a thing.
Every creation has a creator. Every
creation has a creator. Brilliant. I love it. Wow. Just
every beginning has a beginner.
Just every reality has a realtor. I hate it. It's just so. Why do people? It sounds childish when you say it. I just can't help but
look at the trees.
Yeah, look at the. It is just. It sounds like you're a kid, like coming up like, oh, you're it. No, you're it. It's just like, what does it mean to be it? Well, you're the one that's it. Yeah, but what does that mean? Like try to argue with a kid, right? That's what it is. Like, well, every beginning has a begin. But then the beginner didn't ever begin, so not every beginner has a beginning, because you still break it. It just.
Code has a coder. Every book has an author. Everything doesn't come from nothing.
All right. No one says that nothing is where anything came from. I don't think. Maybe Cross, but he didn't even mean nothing. So I don't know. What is nothing? I don't know. Is nothing even a thing?
We've never seen
nothing. Right. You couldn't see nothing.
Know that a philosophical nothing has ever existed.
And
if it did, the moment any rule came into existence,
then that
ceased to be nothing.
And you couldn't because you'd have to have one rule. The rule would have to be there's no paradox allowed. So that's already not nothing, like on a philosophical level. So you can't have a literal nothing unless you're fine with paradox. And if you're fine with paradox, then everything is granted, and that means that yes, everything can come from nothing because there's no rule to say that something can't come from nothing. Saying something can't come from nothing is a rule, and that's something. So you can't get out of it. But nobody talks like this. This isn't talked in, no skeptic, no way. Now, when the theist says, well, even the theist wouldn't say the universe came out of nothing, or well, God made the universe by its
Power and ability.
ability. So
Whatever,
it's what's it making it out of? Nothing. Well, no, because God is there. So there isn't nothing. There's God there. That's everywhere. Is God. So God made the universe out of God, in a sense. Because what else is there to? There is no nothing to make it out of. So it's maybe it's just
There's
not.
got to be something.
Yeah, right. And so like, and God is everywhere, so there couldn't be a place where God could pull nothing from to make a universe out of. So maybe it says those words because it says something like that. You know, it doesn't even say God made the universe out of nothing, if I can recall right. But yeah, so even in the Bible doesn't even really say that particularly that I can recall. But and if it did, well, then it'd have to be wrong for theology to be consistent. Wow.
When it comes to the book of life, DNA, God is the author, God is the coder, God is the creator. If you don't agree, you at least have to consider it an egg in the basket.
So please, why? No more egg. He's gonna keep doing the egg thing.
Can we scramble them?
Nah, yeah. You have to consider it. Well, I mean, no, you don't have to consider it, but sure, fine.
Choose
There's
to.
like I'd be like, oh, and then we have to put like 4,000 more eggs in the basket because there's at least 4,000 religions, you know, and then that's just today, and then you'd have to put in another egg that's naturalistic cause. Well, that's one naturalistic cause. Could you'd have to put in an egg for every possible naturalistic cause that there is too? You're gonna run out of eggs if you're gonna consider everything, but you're not considering everything. You're only considering what he wants you to consider. That's not. That's well. That's
Yeah.
typical, but it's not. It's not reasonable.
Scientific evidence is a reason to trust in God's existence. Another reason to believe in God's existence is philosophical evidence. This is where we get the moral argument from. If God doesn't exist, objective moral values don't exist.
All right, what logical fallacy did he just perform there? If X is not real, then Z isn't real.
I don't know. He broke my brain.
Okay, so this is an appeal to consequence. So if this is true, then this bad thing that we don't want to be true is true. And since we don't want the bad thing to be true, then it can't possibly be true. But it's actually even worse than that. Because if a different God exists that's not his God, what he thinks is right could be wrong. And what we think is wrong would be right. Because God decides morals and ethics under DCT. So, whoops. But he's not thinking it. He's like, oh, of course objective morals exist. Everyone knows that. But what's the association causation between that and a God? And he hasn't shown that or demonstrated that. Philosophical evidence, that's not even, I don't even think that's a thing per se. I mean, you could get nitty gritty with the language. I suppose you could say logic and whatever, but I don't want to give him an inch here.
But objective moral values do exist. Therefore, God exists.
Wait, what?
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Is murder good or bad?
Is murder good or bad? That's an interesting question. Boy, that question's surely loaded. Is murder good or bad?
Neither.
It's neither. It's illegal.
Well, we've chosen as a society to make it illegal. It's harmful. That is the only thing we can probably agree on.
Yeah.
But it's not. A society has decided that it is bad, but that's subjective, not objective.
Yeah, it's subjective to the people and the times in that society. You've said it's illegal because it's harmful to the society at some level, but then there's if there's murder, then there is non-murder that's still killing that is legal. So there's legal killing. So is killing good or bad? Well, again, it depends. And if God, tells you to do it, even if the state tells you not to do it, well, then what are you going to do? You're supposed to follow God, but but God says follow the laws of the land. So if God tells you to do something illegal, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to do it or not? I don't. So, but yeah, it's neither good nor bad. So this is just completely loaded and a false dichotomy. And yeah, we don't like it. I don't want anyone murdering anyone. I think that's a bad idea. But yeah.
How about rape? Good or bad?
Okay, that one's pretty bad because you're violating somebody else's body.
So it is murder.
Well,
You're
yeah,
violating their
true,
right
but
to
they're
live.
gone, so they they
Yeah.
can't complain anymore.
Yeah, man, they'll come back as a ghost.
Yeah. They'll come back as a ghost and rape you and then you'll be really sorry. Well, I shouldn't joke because a lot of people don't like rape jokes, but if you don't like a rape joke, I'm not going to force it upon you.
Crazy.
Yeah, got him.
Pedophilia, good or bad? Where'd you get that from? It can't be from a person or society.
But it can be from a person or society. So
That would be subjective.
So what? Why is it so bad if it's subjective? Why is that the problem? Why does that?
Because it's just your
Oh
opinion.
no! Oh, but the Euro I can never say the damn name. Eurythropia dilemma. The fuck the. Are the gods good because they're good, or are they good because the law is good? You know what I'm talking about. Your ripper or whatever dilemma. That dilemma. You guys in chat know what I'm talking about. God bless Mary. That was consenting, right? Sure. I guess. Dilemma. Oh, what is it? Europthea.
No.
Isn't that? How do you
No.
say? No, that's Europe. How do you spell it? Is God good morals or morals good dilemma? What the hell is it? What's it called? Damn it! Somebody in chat will tell me. Screw it.
And some people think that stuff is okay, even though inherently they know it's wrong. Us.
Yeah. So if you know it's wrong and you're able to do it anyways, well, yeah, then you knowing it's wrong didn't stop you from doing it. But you know it's wrong because somebody told you that it was wrong. Or there's some consequence attached to it. That's how that's how you know it's wrong. Or you have empathy at the very least. You're able to picture what it's like for that to happen. You know that you don't like it when people make fun of you, so you don't make fun of them because you know that will make them sad, and you don't like it when that happens to you, and you don't want to make other people sad because you don't want to be like those people that made you sad because you don't like those people. So with basic empathy, you can establish a code of ethics on your own to some extent, but you still have to have somebody tell you, and you had somebody tell you. They just decided to write it down and say it's from God. That's tell me what the Eurythropia dilemma is. Damn it.
Inherently knowing right from wrong, good from bad, is philosophical evidence for God's existence. It's written in our code. Now, that may not be the end-all be-all for you, but it's another egg in the basket. The final evidence for God's existence is experiential evidence. These are testimonies of people who have experienced God in their real lives, and we'll be getting into that a bit more, so we're going to hold on to that egg.
That's it. He's run out of eggs. So
maybe you need some bacon.
So here's the damn word. How do I say this word?
Oh, you didn't leave it on the screen long enough for me to read it.
Too bad. Here, let's try it again. You're that
Euthyphro.
Yeah, that guy. That dude. So yeah, it's dialogue to whatever the usurper guy. So he's like, is the pious loved by the gods because it's pious, or is it pious because it's loved by the gods? It's a paradox. It's like, is it good because God says
Plato.
it's good? Yeah, Plato and your Theopio, Socrates asks your third whatever the bleep, So is it good because it's and so if it's X is good, whatever X is, well, why? Because God said it was good. Okay, but what makes it good? Is it good because God said it was good? You're a square egg, Mr. Gurrick. What? Okay.
McGurk.
McGurk?
It's a character from Dr. Seuss.
Oh, McGurk. Okay. I was like, what? I don't know, man.
It's one of those things you'd have to know to know.
All right. If you know it, you know it. But yeah, I mean, it's just,
I like Snuffy's. 9 out of 10 people enjoy a gang rape.
oh no. That's terrible. Yeah. Oh man. You guys. Procropium proper hawk? You with your Latin phrases I have to look up. Even with the misspelling correct, it doesn't work. Yeah. So same old, same old. Like I said, same old, same old. And here's the thing: none of that was scientific evidence or philosophical evidence. Even though I don't,
None of it was evidence.
none of it was evidence for God.
It wasn't evidence.
There wasn't even evidence. No, yeah.
An argument isn't evidence.
Argument's not evidence, right? And then, like he says, science, because like, oh look, science says. Well, what of that did science actually say? Like, which part of that was actually even remotely scientific? None of it. Not. Now, of course, then you have a theological objection, which I've made too, that the Christian God, which we're assuming this guy is talking about, probably is. If you had evidence for it, then he wouldn't be the Christian God. So if you had scientific evidence, then you're not talking about a supernatural being anymore. For the thing, not things that point to the thing. Because he said, for the thing. He didn't say, this is the evidence that points to God. These guys are never completely honest with how they frame their wording. And I don't know if they know that or if it's just because they're copying other people or what's going on. So, any other last thoughts before we end this insanity? What is it? What? It's consistent after the fact if spelled correct. Okay, whatever. All right. Any other final thoughts on this stuff?
Yeah, well, that hurt my brain.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming and being the thing here on my thing that I do sometimes. And leave a comment, and somebody will respond.
Subscribe. Buy his book.
Yeah,
Infinite Hope to
what?
Whatever.
Infinite Hope 2? You don't even know what the name of my book is. Say it right. Say the name of my book right. Infinite what? What's it called?
Infinite Hope to Finite Despair.
No! Say it right. Dang it.
I can't remember the title.
Caught between an Infinite Hope and a Finite Despair. Ah, jeez.
Buy it now on Amazon.
Yeah.
Plug.
The other book lets you hammer in nails. So comment. Yin Yang gives a comment. Thank you, Yin Yang. Thank you. There you go. He knows that that's the point of the eggs, I think. Yeah, he puts all the eggs in one basket. You're not supposed to put all the eggs. Oh well. All right. So yeah, running at the same time of Dapper is live is not going to grab views. I don't know who I don't know that anyone else. I don't know what other people are doing. I do things whenever I feel like it. I don't have a schedule. I don't make any. I just do the thing. All right, whatever. Anyways, thanks everybody, and that's all for now. And that's all. Bye, Finn. All right, we're off here. We can.